I imagine neither of you had the time to see the two movies.
Barbie and Oppenheimer.
I
haven't. I want to see Oppenheimer, but no, I haven't seen either one.
Yeah. Well, I was dragged to both.
Oh, wow.
Is this Connor? Oh, I know.
Oh,
Okay.
shit.
No, they were all sold out in New York. Barbie stinks. You know, it's weird, though. It almost felt like it was made by me. It's like it just felt like it was like, yeah, they suck as much in Barbie land as they do in real life, and guys rock. That's what the movie felt like. If Ryan Gosling wasn't in that movie, I would have blown my head off. Mm-hmm. It was just very forced. Every scene's very deliberate. It was
anti-woman.
It's not. In my mind, it was anti-woman because the women were so annoying and the guys kicked ass.
What were they doing that was annoying, and why was Goss saving the day?
Well, it's just the things that they say are all very forced feminist things. Like it's not nuanced on any level.
Yeah.
They're just so like Barbie and Ken go into the real world, kind of like how in Elf, when Elf goes into, he leaves
Santa's lair
and he goes into New York. And they did that way better in Elf because people in New York were like, the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Barbie and Ken go in and like for a little bit people are making fun of them, but then like these construction workers start like catcalling Barbie and then Ken, and then they both go like, we don't have genitals or whatever. And then the construction workers go, well, that's fine. Like they're all woke construction workers. They go, no problem with that. And then everyone in the real world's also as wacky as them, so it doesn't feel like the real world. And then Will Smith is the head of Mattel, and
God, that's embarrassing.
They're all aware that Barbies come to life sometimes and leave. And I don't know. Then America Ferrera plays the lady because Barbie starts malfunctioning and having like thoughts of death and shit in Barbie land.
Give me 1 sec. Is Barbie a toy in the movie, but she looks like a human?
Technically, they're toys, but you never really see them being like played with. They're real people in Barbie land.
How do they get out of Barbie universe?
It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't
they
even
just
make
go
sense.
down a highway and they take a boat and then they take a thing. It's like Elf. It's the same as Elf, basically. So then they wind up on Venice Beach. Like eventually they just rollerblade into Venice Beach. As Barbie and Ken.
Is it like a normal part of the Barbie-verse life to travel out of Barbie-verse? Or was it an accident?
No, Barbie is told by ugly Barbie, like a Barbie that got fucked with by like a teenager that didn't care anymore, so like drew on a Barbie and made him all weird, who's played by Kate McKinnon. So then Kate McKinnon's like the ugly Barbie that tells Barbie she has to go into the real world.
Good casting, go on.
And she has to find... She has to find the owner of her Barbie who's starting to fuck with her and like having weird thoughts.
Okay.
And then that's inflicting onto Margot Robbie's Barbie or whatever. So it's retarded. But America Ferrera plays this 40-year-old mom who's the owner of Margot Robbie's Barbie. And she's giving all these like feminist speeches and shit and how hard it is to be a woman. But she's like a mentally insane woman that's still playing with Barbies and like writing manifestos and shit.
Well, her owner isn't a child. It's a full-grown adult.
No, it's a 40-year-old woman.
What the fuck?
Oh no, it's a child. But then the child finds out her mom has been playing with her Barbies.
Oh, so she's got like.
Is
she's
the
a
mom
psychopath.
aware that the Barbies are sentient?
Pretty much, because she like rescues Barbie from Mattel. It sucks.
This is bizarre.
Dude, it's very weird.
Yeah.
Listen, it's also bizarre that like Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach like made this.
Yeah, it's very
it's
lame.
like, why, that's your next foray? Like you're going to make toy movies? Like, they've worked, every movie they make is about, the most obnoxious Jew of all time, or it's about, it's sophisticated, like, indie movies. It's like if fucking we found out, like, did you guys hear the new Cabbage Patch Kid movies being directed by Ingmar Bergman? It was just odd. And so, by the way, the kid, so Barbie goes to the high school, finds the kid that owns her, walks up to the table, and the kid's like a freshman in high school, I guess, immediately goes on this big rant about fascism and bimbos and just saying all these things. And I'm like, I guess some Gen Z people are saying stuff like that now, but it was just, everything was so on the nose and so deliberate. But then Ken goes to the real world, and Ken comes back, and he's like, yeah, I've been being negged by Barbie. I'm sick of this shit. So he takes over Barbie Land. He calls it Kendom.
Nice.
And he just like starts wearing like a mink coat and being like a pimp and
He's
shit.
Conor McGregor.
There's like a
sudden.
6-minute scene in the movie that kicks ass where Ryan Gosling takes over Barbie Land, and it's just like a guy's rock moment.
Yeah.
But then the rest of the movie just was really brutal to watch. Yeah.
Does he just like turn it into a Hooters or like what?
Along those lines, kind of.
Is he banging all Barbies?
No, but he takes Barbies home. He takes Barbies home. He makes like saloon doors on the fucking whatever. It was.
That sounds awesome.
It was cool. It was funny enough. But I'm watching the movie and I'm like, I know this movie's trying to make a point that like that's like, you know, men are retarded and women are they have it hard. But also it was like trying to be fair, so it thought it was being nuanced because it also shows how the patriarchy, you know, how men are fucked with too or whatever. But it was just too forced. It was so forced. Like every movie you go see now, it's like, do they think we're all retarded?
Yeah.
And they do.
They do. 100%.
So they saw Oppenheimer.
Yeah, what was that like?
Oh my god, dude! It was like a fucking highlight tape for nerds.
I heard it was a wall-to-wall soundtrack.
Soundtrack never stops because Christopher Nolan doesn't believe in any of his characters having any human emotion or sitting in any scene because he has no soul.
Yeah,
and
he's autistic.
His movies have no soul.
I like Interstellar and I like some of the Batmans.
Yeah,
Batmans are good because he had people telling him to shut the fuck up.
Well, they look
on
great.
Yeah.
They look great. And he also had the help of, he had Heath Ledger given the performance of a lifetime. The guy died for it. You know?
And Bale kicked ass.
Bale
But
kicked ass.
Other than that, I fucking agree. Soulless movies.
Soulless movies.
Mm-hmm.
The movie should have been called Historically Important Fags with Transatlantic Accents. The whole movie is just, it's a lot of people saying shit where you're like, I'm kind of aware of what's going on, but I don't really know what you're talking about. And then they would have a line where it just feeds the audience, this is what's going on, like an obvious line.
Oh, fish out of water shit.
You know,
Yeah,
kind of. And it's just way too fucking long. And
How long was it?
3 hours, dude.
You gotta be fucking shitting
I was
me.
falling asleep the last half. They also they don't show them bomb Hiroshima or Nagasaki.
What?
Which I'm like, I thought this movie was about Jews that hated sushi.
Hang on a minute.
That's what Oppenheimer was a Jew that just hated sushi because it's not kosher. So
Oh,
he's
I didn't know he was a Jew. My
We're
bad.
gonna drop.
Yeah,
that.
I didn't know that till like last week. I looked it up.
Well, so you knew it on that joke and you still didn't really laugh.
I thought it was great. I laughed.
Wait,
Jews that hate sushi.
He didn't
laugh
laugh.
to the side.
Exactly.
I laughed to the side.
You hiding your laughs.
Listen,
there.
bud, you can't, you know.
Well, John, if I would have known he was a Jew, I think I would have been like cackling.
I don't think you would have.
Here's the thing, bro. I'm not sure there's a single scene in the movie that's longer than 7 seconds. It felt like a TikTok movie, but pretending to be.
Well, so how do they do the nukes?
great.
Is it like somebody comes up to them and goes like, "Hey, the nukes have been dropped," and like, but you never see it?
Yeah, so basically, it all leads up to, you know, Oppenheimer's just dead set on making the nukes because he's like, you know, we have to win this war.
If the Nazis get them
If the
first.
Nazis get them first and shit. And then after they test it out, like shortly after they tested in New Mexico, because that's where he set up the whole town in Los Alamos, New Mexico. And they test it, and that's the one scene where you finally see like the nuke, you know, and the aftershock and all that shit, where they're all looking at it.
How was that?
in a test,
It was cool enough.
like
Whatever.
in the desert, like
In the
nothing
desert.
even gets
Trinity.
exploded.
And they like ruined everyone's lives in New Mexico that lived
Okay.
there and shit. And so then right after that, like a few days later, Oppenheimer just finds out that they've already dropped them on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and then he feels all guilty because he I guess he didn't think they were gonna fucking use
Yeah, Oppenheimer's
it.
the gayest guy in
He
history.
sucks ass.
He's one of the gayest.
He
historical
sucks
figures.
ass. He can suck my ass. He's he might as well have been doing yo-yo tricks the whole movie with his fucking stupid hat, his stupid pork pie hat, and all his stupid fucking Austrian genius friends and whatever the fuck they are. I don't know, man. I just couldn't give a fuck. I couldn't give a fuck about it. There's a 45-minute sequence in the middle where you're like, all right, hell yeah. But the whole movie.
What was that?
Yeah, what was that about?
It's like when it's gearing up, when you're
Like they're about to finish the nuke and shit?
when you're like, man, they're creating the most detrimental thing in human history.
Yeah.
You know? So that was cool, but then he has his love life in it, which I never give a fuck about.
Was he gay?
Love life.
No, he had a
He was
mistress and shit.
he was banging everybody.
Okay.
He tries to poison. By the way, a bunch of spoilers on this. I really don't give a shit. Go see it or not. Who cares? He tries to the beginning of the movie. He tries to poison his college professor. He puts cyanide in his college professor's apple. Wow. And then he like has like a nightmare, like, what have I done? So he runs back to the college and he sees that it hasn't been eaten yet, but the two professors are there and they're talking to him about theory or, you know, math and shit. Math and stuff. This is like
talking about numbers.
We should do a thing where I break down movies drunk, like about smart people. And so then he sees the professor grab the apple.
Yeah.
And then he's like trying to wants to grab it out of his hands.
Yeah.
And then the professor's saying something, and then he just goes like wormhole, and the professor's like, huh, and then he grabs the apple out of his hand, and the professors don't think anything weird about that, and so he saves himself.
It's like a kooky
from
academia
Fucking prick
thing.
just stole my apple.